Hi there, everyone, and welcome to my channel, Ascension17. I am Cynthia Clark, and I am a love and ascension coach. And I'm coming to you from the beautiful town of Sedona, Arizona. And I'm going to start doing these live streams. I'm planning on every Tuesday, so once a week. So you can come here at the same time every Tuesday. And I want to talk about a little bit about why I created this channel, why I've been called to do what I'm doing. And I'm also here to, I'm going to do a reading for you as a collective. So those of you who are watching either live or later on, you can get a reading. We're going to be looking at our 2021 Ascension Roadmap. So anyway, I want to give a little bit of history about, like I said, why I've created this channel. And the main thing is that I started getting this synchronicity. Okay, so I've been a professional palm and tarot reader for the last 12 years. I've worked with over 7,000 people during that time, and I came to Sedona about a year and a half ago I moved from Colorado. I was in Colorado for 7 years, and before that, I was in Salt Lake City, Utah. So I have been on a definite journey, and this year has just really been a crazy year, right? I mean, there's just been so much stuff going on, and it seems like people are more fearful and more divided than ever. And that to me is very disheartening. So I really want to help people to not be afraid, to come out of that fear, to understand what's really going on from that bigger perspective. So that's one reason why I've got this globe behind me with the rose. It really does represent that there are good things coming. And I really want people to be optimistic about the future rather than fearful. So what happened to me and how I how I came here. So ending up in Sedona was definitely one of those sort of synchronous things that just happened. I had been married for a short time to my new husband, and he actually was the one who came up with, I think we're moving from Colorado. And sure enough, we ended up coming down here and looking around, and we found the perfect place for us to live. So it all really fell together. So I really do feel like I was meant to come to Sedona, which is a beautiful place full of high energy, very calming and peaceful energy, which is perfect for somebody who's very sensitive like myself. So a lot of starseeds gather here, a lot of spiritual people gather here. And so I feel right at home in Sedona. So then I started getting these synchronicities. So if you've ever had a synchronicity, it's something that keeps repeating over and over during your day. So for example, maybe you've seen 1111 or 222 or 777. Repeating numbers are definitely a way for the universe to communicate with you, and they represent synchronicities. There's also, it could be a repeating picture, like a rose. For me, red and pink roses were a synchronicity that I was getting for quite a long time. And I actually talked about it in my book, Stories in Your Hands. I published a book back in 2017 called Stories in Your Hands, how to connect to the using palmistry and tarot, how to connect to your authentic destiny. So palmistry and tarot are ascension tools that can guide you in your life. And this channel is all about ascension. So I started seeing the number 17, the number 717, pretty much continuously Up to 10 times a day is how often it would happen. So it was really trying to get my attention. Um, and in this year where there's so much going on, it's more important than ever for us to tune inward and really connect to our spiritual selves and understand what's going on in our spiritual life so that we can um, we're all evolving to a new state of being. So what I learned from the 17 and the 717, 7 is my numerology birth path number. So I'm on a pathway of spirituality. I'm here to share spirituality with people. I'm here to help them connect to their spiritual sides. And I'm also here to help with the ascension. So 17, what I learned was that it represents a date. Okay, so if we go back to 2012 and we look at the Mayan calendar, okay, there's all these different types of calendars, right? There's the lunar calendar, which I follow. There's the Gregorian calendar, which of course is the calendar that everybody in the United States follows and in most of the world. And then there's the Mayan calendar, which is more ancient, and it studied long periods of time. And 2012 was like the end date for this calendar. And so a lot of spiritual people at that time thought that it was going to be when our planet was going to ascend into the fifth dimension. So we're in a third dimensional reality. It was about moving and upping our vibrational energy into a new dimension. So, of course, that didn't happen back in 2012, and that's because we weren't ready. And so the 17, what I learned is you add 2012 plus 17, you get the year 2029. So I believe that our ascension timeline is actually going to be the year 2029. And I have also done a lot of studies around this just in the last year about it. So there are others who also believe that. And there's a lot of data around it as well. So I'm not just pulling this number out of thin air. But this is for the planet, okay? So we have our planetary ascension, okay? So the entire planet is going to be raising its vibration, but we also have a personal vibration, right? We live in the third density. We have our our texture of our skin, like we seem solid, right? But we're actually a light body. And I have been following not only my intuition, my meditations, I've also had some pretty interesting dreams that have also given me tons and tons of data just over the last year. So I feel like all of this information that I've been gathering was for me to share with you, and so that we can all prepare for what's coming, which is this beautiful ascension process. And so when I talk about ascension, it's about becoming much more harmonious. Okay, so we live in a world of chaos and fear and stress and trauma and all of that kind of junky stuff, right? We argue with each other. We can't seem to agree on the same things. Everybody sees things differently. Of course, we all have filters, and those actually show up in the hands as well. But on a spiritual level, we're all going through the same things, and we're evolving our spiritual selves. And we are going into a place that's going to be at least 100 times more harmonious than the state that we're in right now. So we might as well all start preparing, right? This is going to be what we're doing. And I have been called to create Ascension17.com and to guide people who are open to learning more about ascension. their personal ascension, okay? Because even though we have this collective, right, that's growing and evolving, we also have a personal agenda. And I really love to help the individual in their own pathways. And then I like to bring us all together as a group. So I'm very happy that we can have platforms like this where we can actually all come together as a group and do things together. So I've studied a lot about group meditation. There's actually a meditation effect that you can impact the world just from meditating. So part of Ascension 17 is bringing people together as a group, and we work on specific things together. We also have what's called ley lines on the planet, right? These are the lines that they're like meridian lines. You have meridian lines that run through your body. You also have meridian lines that run through the planet, and they're called ley lines. And then you also have lines that connect outward beyond the planet. They're called axiotonal lines. And so all of these like power points of these energy lines, you can impact them in specific ways. So for example, I create different energy grids here in Sedona, and I try to help the planet that way. I created an entire ascension grid using crystals and putting in my own personal intention into it, because our intention is where the power is. And the power is also in the now. So we can tap into the past, we can tap into the future, but the power point is in the now. And so what I want people to start thinking about is, instead of worrying and being fearful and being panicked, I want you to start realizing the power that you have to affect change right now. And together as a collective, we can absolutely do this. So you've heard, of course, of the power of prayer. Prayer works. And I'm not a religious, so uh, but it does work. But I come from the spiritual, mystical side of things, where I like to actually learn from all the different religions, which they all have one thing in common. And what is that one thing? It's love, right? So at the core of religion is love. At the core of spirituality is love. And love is that vibration that we're moving into and we're connecting to. So in our ascension pathway, we are connecting to higher and higher states of love and bliss and the connection to all things. So we can do it from our personal side, our personal space, our personal energy field, and it will affect everything around us. So Ascension 17 is definitely a labor of love. I came from another realm of love. In the last 3 years, I created another website called loveinyourhands.com. And so you can go find my other channel. It's still up and running over there. If you want to find it on YouTube, or you can go to the website, loveinyourhands.com. And I've also done podcasting for the last 5 years, I think now. I actually had two other shows. I had Love in Your Hands, and then I had Stories in Your Hands. So you can go find those other shows if you're interested, where I've talked a lot about palmistry. I've talked a lot about just other, like, people's stories about love, connection, things like that. And your hands actually do have so much information. That's one thing that I love about hands, is that they can guide you not only in love, but they can also guide you in ascension. So that's why I use palmistry as one of the tools to help people. I also use tarot because that's a way to connect to your higher self. I use dreams. I use meditation. All of these things are actually very, very important. And if you want to know more about yourself and what's going on in your life and what's going on around you, you need to be familiar with what is your higher self trying to communicate with you. And that's why we have all these different ways to connect to it. And unfortunately, if you're stuck in fear, if you're in that fear mode, or if you're in the lower vibrational energies, which fear is definitely one of the lowest, you're not going to be able to hear your higher self. You're not going to be connected to your higher self. You're not going to be able to understand the bigger picture of what your soul is trying to do for you, what you're here to learn, and you're going to be stuck. And the last thing I want is for people to be stuck. I've been helping people with their personal growth for at least 20 years now. And it's always my goal to help people to get past their blocks, which you can see also in the hands. You can learn about it also in astrology. You can learn about it in Chinese astrology. You can learn about it through feng shui. There's so many ways to learn. Just looking at this year, 2020 is about vision, right? Because like when you think of 2020 vision, okay, that's really the theme of this year. It's about clarity, getting clear on what is actually going on in the world and where are we going? Okay, so if we are all going to this more beautiful dimension and we're ascending, why is there so much fear? So it is our personal responsibility to help everybody to realize that they don't need to be in fear and they can take their power back and we can all ascend. Okay, we're on that pathway. We are all ascending. Those of us who are ready. Okay, and the planet is doing it as well. So I did a meditation the other day, and what came through was it was giving me the vision of the diamond. Okay, so the diamond is, of course, a beautiful carbon-based substance, right? It's we have to have heat and pressure. It starts out as a lump of coal, and then it can transform into this beautiful diamond. And so the image that I got was that we, as a planet, as the Earth human species, we are like the coal. Okay, so we are being pushed. We are being pressured. We are going through tremendous heat. We are, and just looking at like what's going on around us. Especially this winter, I suspect will be an interesting winter. But we've got a lot of planetary things coming up. We've got a beautiful conjunction with Jupiter and Saturn coming up, which I'll be talking about in probably a podcast. But yeah, we've got so many beautiful things coming up. We have a solar eclipse coming up next week on the 14th of December. It's good to pay attention to these planetary and cosmic events because they are trying to communicate with us and they impact us in different ways. So that's why I study astrology and Chinese astrology. The number 7 in what's called the flying stars chart in feng shui has been in the center of the chart for the entire year of the rat, which we're in the year of the metal rat right now. And what that's indicating is that it's called the robbery star. So isn't it interesting how like nearly the entire year was basically robbed from us, and it was in the center of the chart, and the feng shui flying star chart told us this in advance. So if we can learn to study these things and understand these things, then we can absolutely use that information to help us personally. So that's why I love to study all of these things and use them to help others. So the Ascension17.com is a place for people to go who want to learn more about Ascension, definitely tap into my new podcast, Ascension17, as well. And I also will be doing some blogging, and you can find me on all those social media channels. So I'm definitely going to be very active in assisting people. And I have a brand new membership. It's called the Sphere of Infinite Light, where you can actually learn palmistry and tarot. I've got an introductory class that's included in there. I've also got, I believe, over 20 videos of trainings that you can learn about astrology. You can learn about Chinese astrology. You can learn about different ascension tools. You can also have access to meditations, because meditations are very important, like I said, to ascend, because that's a way to connect to your higher self. So I've got a bunch of those in the membership. And then twice a month, we are going to be meeting privately, just members, where you can actually submit questions. You can come on, you can talk to me personally, and we will be working through your own personal blocks or whatever it is that we need to work on as a group. And we're going to do group work together to ascend, and everybody is going to benefit from that. So I'm very excited to get going with that. I'm also including a palm reading. So there are actually 10 different heart chambers that show up in your hands. And this is something that I've talked about on my Love in Your Hands channel. And these represent the different emotional aspects of your heart. And you can see if they're flowing, you can see if they're blocked in your hands, and you can learn about what it is that you need to personally work on in order to open up your heart energy more fully, which is, of course, part of ascension. It's also part of connecting to a soulmate. So anyway, so that I'm including a report on that in the membership. So everybody gets a palm reading just by joining. And so I've really tried to make this, very, very easy for people to join in and participate and start to really taking a proactive, uh, action steps to, we've got less than 9 years to get this figured out. So the call has come to me to start waking people up and helping people and helping them realize that there is so much more going on than, what you see in the mainstream media and all that junk. That I call those the weapons of mass distraction. So if you're if you're still believing all that stuff, it's time to start doing your own research. It's time to start looking to spiritual people who are really tapped in. I mean, I meditate every single day. I've been doing channeling, starseed transmissions. There's a lot that I'm here to share. So let's do a quick little reading for everybody as a collective. And I'm just going to do one card today. I'll probably do a longer one, maybe next week or something, depending on what you guys are interested in. You can also ask me questions too. So feel free, if you're watching this after the live stream, post a comment, please post a comment, and I will use those comments to actually guide my talks. Okay. So this is just our card of the day, our message of the day for everybody. Okay. So the card coming up is the inverted Six of Swords. And I'm using my Golden Tarot deck by US Games. This and Cat Black is the person who created this deck. I've got about 50 decks in my collection, so I may use different decks each week. It's kind of fun. But yeah, the inverted Six of Swords is basically, it has to do with, it's got this couple with a baby going over murky waters, and they are struggling. emotionally. So they really want to get out of this emotional junk. Okay, so the message for you is that this is a temporary situation. Yes, we are all struggling right now. There's a lot of uncertainty right now. We don't know what are the outcomes going to be. I've had a lot of people approach me, saying, I just need some reassurance right now. I don't know, what the future holds. I'm a little nervous about it. So this card is saying it's okay to be in that kind of coal state. Remember, before we're turned into a diamond. What I'd like for you to do is actually just acknowledge your feelings, whatever they are, and just love yourself no matter what. Love those feelings that are coming through. If you're afraid, just love yourself through that fear. If you're feeling anxious, love yourself through the anxiousness. And just know, and that's what I'm here to reassure you, is that this is not going to last forever. This is a temporary situation, the Six of Swords. And we have the ability to transform these emotions. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now for you is I'm going to send you some beautiful healing energy. And let's actually, I've got my little Tibetan bowl. And let's just do a little tone here. I want you to just take a deep breath in. And exhale. And I just want you to feel my love for you. Okay, I'm sending you love right now. Everything is going to be okay. Your soul is eternal. Your soul is infinite. You are infinite. Okay, so this whole experience right now, this is so temporary, and you are so loved, and you are so supported by the universe. That's really what I want you to know today. So yes, I understand this Six of Swords. I've been through many of many of these waters, right? I've been through some really dark experiences, and it's not a fun place to be. And we're going to get through it together, and I'm here for you. I'm here to assist you. So feel the love coming into your heart. You could even place your hands over your heart if you like, and just hold that space. Feel yourself surrounded by beautiful, loving light. You may even see light. If you close your eyes, you may even see the light coming through. So we are going to be talking about ascension on this channel. We are going to be talking about ascension tools, ascension processes, and I welcome your questions. I welcome your energy. Everybody is welcome. All are welcome who want to learn more about this beautiful transition that we are going through on this planet. And I am honored to be here. I'm honored to be someone who can bring in a voice of calm reassurance, because I feel like people do need that. Know that it's all going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. And your soul's eternal. Your soul is going to a beautiful place. And let's have some fun doing this too. This is not meant to be all serious all the time either. We're here to have fun. So if you have some specific questions that you want me to ask, I'm more than happy to pull cards around specific questions when we meet together in this live stream setting, because it is kind of a fun place to be. So Definitely check out my podcast, which is it airs every Wednesday, once a week, every Wednesday, and we'll be doing these live streams on Tuesdays during December. I may change the time based upon feedback that I receive from you guys. If this is not the best time, I'm open to changing it. But during December, I'm going to set it up at the same time at 11:10 on Tuesdays, Mountain Time. And of course, I wish you nothing but love and happiness. And I wish you nothing but the best on your journey. And thank you so much for joining me today. Remember that you are a blessing to the world and that you have more power than you realize. And I look forward to connecting with you again very soon. Have a beautiful day.